Tumble out of bed and I stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition and yawn and stretch and try to come to life. Jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping. Out on the streets, the traffic starts jumping with folks like me on the job from 9 to 5. Working to find what a way to make a living. Barely from the water to the bar, got some tender.
All right, here we go. My name's Todd.
This is Cathy.
Welcome back to another episode of Zen Pop Parenting. My voice is already starting to crack.
I know.
Great. Lucky me. So today we are talking about two separate films, but we're blending them together.
Correct.
A little 9 to 5 action and a little working girl action.
So basically, first of all, welcome to Zen Pop Parenting, where Gen X pop culture meets real life reflection. We are so pleased to have you. And if you were listening last week, you heard our daughters who were talking about the Hunger Games. And now Todd and I are back, and we're going to be talking about how Gen X feminism is in 9 to 5 and Working Girl. And basically what we learned growing up from these movies, these are like there are plenty of movies out there and other things, but these were kind of the 80s, 90s versions of what feminism looked like.
What year was Working Girl? It was in the 80s, wasn't it? Or am I making that up?
It was end of the 80s, 1988. So you're right. It wasn't really 90s. I think 90s we were crossing over into a more...
We're watching on repeats in the 90s.
But we kind of came into a more Alanis Morissette kind of a little more anger, a little more different ways of seeing ourselves. You're right. A lot of the 80s was kind of crumbling, just like we discussed in our podcast about, I think we called it Fell on Black Days, about the, bands from the 90s. And we were talking about how at the beginning of the 90s is when like hair bands and kind of this whole way of looking at the world started to crumble, and we started to get more authentic.
Yeah.
So let's just stay in the 80s then, Todd.
Yeah, you like the 80s.
I sure do. That's when, so 9 to 5 was 1980 and Working Girl was 1988.
I'm going to set the scene.
Before you set the scene, can I say one thing that we don't really do anymore?
Sure.
Number one, I have a Substack that I sometimes write about what we're talking about on this podcast. So I was explaining to your sister the other day about Substack, because I know it can be confusing. Substack is the platform. Okay. It's like the platform. And then I have two versions: Zen Parenting Moment, which is free. You can subscribe to that. You can also subscribe to something called Pebbling, which is my paid subscription. You don't have to do that, but that's a deeper dive. And that goes more, I take a lot more time, right? More in depth. And so if you like what you're reading, it's an opportunity for you to get more. Plus it supports me and us, it goes towards Zen parenting. So there's that. And then a lot of the things we're talking about, especially today, kind of corresponds with my book, Restoring Our Girls. So while I'm not going to keep calling out my book over and over again, I just want you to know I am a Gen Xer who learned from these movies and have had to unlearn some things as well. That's what a lot of this is like, where did we come from? And then what do we need to let go of? And I write about a lot of that in Restoring Our Girls.
Well, and I'll just add that we're recording this on the 4th of August, but I don't think the podcast goes out until the 12th or something like that. But we do these Zen Talks. And one of the things that it's like an interactive podcast. And one of the things that I want to continue to do is bring your moment into the Zen Talks.
And you just said Zen Talks, but what does that mean for people? They don't know what that is.
An interactive podcast on Zoom.
Right, but isn't that Team Zen that you're talking about?
Yeah, I started out saying we have Team Zen, I believe.
No, you said Zen Talks.
Okay, so we have this Team Zen, and we have these Zen Talks on Team Zen, and I bring your Substacks into the conversation.
Correct.
In the Zen Talk. So some people are like, I'm a Zen Parenting Radio. You guys talk about self-awareness and parenting the entire time. The way to do that is to join Team Zen.
We still do that there, so join us there. But for now, we will set the scene.
All right. All right. I think I want to set the scene a little bit. How's your headphones?
It's not very loud. It's kind of quiet. So I don't know if that will stay quiet or if that is my earphones.
Let me know if that's better.
Ooh, Okay.
Better?
Now I can hear. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
good.
way turned up. All right. So go ahead, Toddy.
I just want to like remind people, because some people haven't seen this movie. We saw 9 to 5. We watched it with our daughters and a few friends a few weeks ago. So it's top of mind for us. I
Right.
didn't rewatch Working Girl in prep for this, but I feel like we just saw it not too
we
long
watch
ago.
it a lot.
But 9 to 5, 1980, we got Jane Fonda, we got Lily Tomlin, Dolly Parton, and Dabney Coleman. Those are the 4 top dogs in that movie. Is there anybody else actor-wise that springs to mind for you? Not really?
I mean, there are people in it that are kind of what we'd call that guys, like people you'd be like, oh, I remember that person.
There is that guy in that movie. It's the doctor in the Terminator movies is in this movie.
Oh, really?
Do you remember the doctor from the Terminator who's trying to certify whether or not Sarah Connor is,
should be
institutionalized. So that's that guy. So that is 9 to 5. And then Working Girls, Melanie Griffith, Harrison Ford, Sigourney Weaver, Alec Baldwin, Joan Cusack. Those are the top dogs.
Yeah. Well, going back to 9 to 5, like, I think it's funny. First of all, just a few things about the people you said. This was Dolly Parton's first role in a movie. So it's her first acting opportunity. And also it's so funny to see Dabney Coleman because he was in so much stuff in the 80s. Like he recently passed, actually. He died. And for, it's not that I had seen him recently, but geez, that's an actor we grew up with.
No doubt.
Like I mean, I'm thinking War Games. I'm thinking
on Golden Pond.
Yeah. Like, so how funny. So he's with Jane Fonda.
He's also in Tootsie and You've Got Mail.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
You've Got Mail.
Yeah. Dabney. Did Dabney get his due? We should
he was was he ever a good guy? It seems like he was.
Golden Pond, kind of.
No, he was kind of a jerk.
Was he a jerk?
I mean, he stood up to Henry Fonda's character a little bit.
Yeah, but he wasn't a great partner.
I think he loved Jane Fonda. It's funny, the Jane Fonda through line. Now that I think about it.
I just said.
Okay. Sorry, I'm looking at a lot of different things.
I know you are, which is why I try and cut you a lot of slack, but a lot of times you just say what I just said.
Okay. So. But he's a bad guy in War Games.
Yes.
He's a bad guy in Tootsie, for sure.
Yes, for sure.
He's a bad guy in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like the Vernon of the 80s.
Yeah, he got typecast, as we would say, where he became this person. But yeah, so, do you want me to dive in more, or would you like to talk more about okay. So let's talk about what was going on, overall with these movies in the 80s. So post second wave feminism, we had some legal wins, Title IX, that kind of thing. But obviously, everyday sexism persisted. Still does. Didn't know if you know that, but it does. Women were entering the workforce in larger numbers, but it was usually secretarial, thus 9 to 5 and Working Girl. They're, all of our characters are secretaries or low-level administration. Sexual harassment was definitely widespread, but this is what I think is so crazy. And we're going to get into this more later in the podcast, but it was not legally recognized as discrimination until 1986. So sexual discrimination was just completely normalized. And if you go back and watch 9 to 5 and you watch the harassment, from Dabney Coleman, like my daughters, part of the reason I wanted them to see the movie was for that reason. Like this used to be a thing where you could look down your secretary's shirt, or you could, chase her around, or, and anybody who really got into Mad Men,
very, very normalized, misogynistic, sexist behavior.
Absolutely. Things that women learn to deal with, tolerate, work around versus get any help.
Sure.
It was like a totally different time. And then, it's the idea of having it all, which is what we grew up with as Gen Xers, having a career and looking good and having love and having motherhood. It was a total pressure point for women. And I always talk about my dad because he is such a dad from this generation where he would tell me I could have all these things. And he really believed it. But he couldn't see the big picture of how much pressure that would put on women to do all those things simultaneously, because the thing that didn't change were men.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like men kept doing what they were doing. And I'm not saying that there weren't slight shifts, but the societal expectation of men didn't change. So we're still kind of in that process of sharing more roles and, more equality when it comes to work and home and everything. So 9 to 5 is basically, the whole movie was about the growing frustration about workplace inequality. And it was, if I read correctly, you may have read some similar things. I don't want to go too much into random facts, but Jane Fonda, when she signed on, she thought it was going to be a drama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you read that too?
I did.
Yeah. And it eventually got turned into more of a comedy, but
because it was, nobody would go see it. This was a big enough gamble to begin with.
Right.
If we just want to make it a drama about where the protagonists are 3 women, which was rare, if ever, they're like, there's no way that people are going to go see this. But if we make it a comedy, maybe there's a possibility. And it succeeded. It was the second best movie of the year.
Was it really? When you say second best, like made the most
highest
money?
grossing, yeah.
Wow.
You know what number 1 was?
God, no, 1980.
Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, duh.
And then the other one, just for fun, Stir Crazy. Never really liked that movie. Airplane, one of my 2 top favorite comedies of all time. Any Which Way You Can. Never really got into that movie. Did you?
Yes, I loved Clint Eastwood, and then he had that monkey. He had the orangutan.
He was an orangutan.
Say it the way you're supposed to, though. Orangutan. There's like the way people say it now. I don't think we say it right.
Oh, I'm not familiar. I'm familiar with orangutan.
I am too, but I feel like we've learned recently that it's like orangutan or something.
The other movies are Raging Bull.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
I have, but not really by
choice. Rough watch. Yeah. Ordinary People, The Shining, Coal Miner's Daughter, and Caddyshack.
Okay, so in that group, you know what? Well, I think it's orangutan. Anyway.
Oh boy, you're really worried about this.
Sorry, it's totally been something.
The orangutans are going to be very miffed if they don't hear us pronounce their species properly.
Let me explain. I am not worried about the listeners not thinking we're doing.
No, you're worried about the orangutans.
I'm worried.
They're not monkeys. Monkeys are like the little guys that jump in and out. I think they may be part of it, but there's spider monkeys. Monkeys are usually smaller. Orangutan is like a different beast.
So let me explain. This is all something that's been going on in my mind, where like I hear other people say it, and I think 2 of them are other podcasters. I think one of them is Dax Shepard, and then one of them was Glennon. And they say it so differently, or maybe it was Abby. I don't know, but I was like, wait, how do you say that word? And I never figured it out. And here we are talking about Every Which Way But Loose. And, okay, can I give you a little Every Which Way But Loose trivia?
That's what everybody's waiting for anyway.
Okay, so interesting. It was, what's his name?
Clint Eastwood?
Thank you. Is Clint Eastwood, and his girlfriend was Sandra Locke, and she was in the movie. And then his sidekick, I can't remember what his sidekick's name was, but it was a guy, not the orangutan. And he is Juliette Lewis's dad.
Juliette Lewis's dad. Okay. So that's the girl from Christmas Vacation, Juliette Lewis. I'm just making sure.
Well, that's one of her roles.
That was her first big.
But I would do Cape Fear or Yellow Jacket,
right.
A little more updated. But yeah, so I did watch that movie a lot. And then they did a sequel called Every Which Way You Can.
Right. Was that any good?
I don't remember.
I think we got to find out. Got to watch that stat.
We should do a
Zen Pop Parenting on orangutan movies.
About movies with monkeys in them. Yes. I know you're saying they're not monkeys, but they are monkeys.
They're probably in the monkey house at the zoo.
Right.
But I still...
Like, is a gorilla a monkey?
No, it's an ape.
Okay. I don't understand that. I need a lesson about evolution. I don't understand this monkey.
We got to work on that. All right.
So do you want me to talk about Working Girl now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Working Girl, 1988. So basically this was released at the height of the whole corporate ambition, image culture. It was a more individualistic, career-driven kind of empowerment. So Tess Miguel, that is played by our girl...
Dakota Johnson's mom?
Come up with Sandra Locke.
Yeah.
But I can't
Melanie
come up
Griffith.
with Melanie Griffith. Thank you very much for helping me. Melanie Griffith. So her character Tess, she plays the game. So basically the whole idea of like being in the work world in the late 80s and 90s, even when I got into the work world, was about learn to play the game and kind of work around things so you could get what you needed. And it wasn't about a systemic approach to it, like, let's change the rules here so this is fair. It was about, how do I get my needs met in this system that was not built for me? So that's really what, and 9 to 5 is about that too. But so the other part of Working Girl is it definitely portrayed women who were competing with each other. We just didn't seem to have enough room yet for more than a few women who wanted to rise to the top. And it also echoed that whole bootstraps idea. If you work hard enough, you can succeed, which is, I think we call that a meritocracy. What do we call that? Meritocracy. Thank you.
Yep.
We call that a meritocracy, but is it really, if you're going into a system that wasn't built for you at all, where you have to go around and deceive? And, of course, the visuals of Working Girl, the shoulder pads, the heels, putting on shoes to walk to work, putting on your tennis shoes to walk to work, and the huge jackets. Do you remember that? Even the basketball players like Michael Jordan, remember
huge
his
suits.
Huge suit.
Yeah, really expensive suits too.
And women would wear that too. Like, we didn't know what a tailor was. I mean, so it was very Wall Streetish, and it was, like 9 to 5 is more of like a shared frustration, fantasy kind of driven rebellion, and Working Girl is more like the individual triumph. Again, like I said, the bootstrap kind of optimism. And these are the questions that they asked us. Can women lead? And if so, how? What's the cost of getting ahead? And do we change the system or do we change us? And so, again, I want to reiterate, this is what I grew up with. Like, this is how I think about the work world. Like, I remember, I don't want to dive into remember when.
Yeah, don't be stepping on categories.
I'm not. Okay, so I'll stop with this. Do you have anything more to say about set the scene?
Negative.
Okay, let's go into this. I remember when you couldn't wait
to love me. I do not have anything for either of these two movies.
Really?
I barely remember watching it as a little kid. I mean, obviously I can share stories about the idea of these movies like sexism in the workplace, but
what about your experience? Like, did your mom like them?
I remember we had a like Betamax or VHS, and it was one of the first tapes we had. Don't remember watching it. I was too busy watching Star Wars for the 152nd time.
Knowing your mom, I bet she loved this movie.
There's no doubt about it.
9 to 5, that is. Both of them, actually.
Probably both of them. But she also was not the type of mom to say, hey, like my dad would do this. He'd be like, come on in here. There's a nightline on drunk driving. And we would have to like go watch it. My mom would not force us to watch any of her stuff.
Yeah. Your dad still does that a little bit.
Yes, he does.
He wants you to watch those.
So I don't have a remember when.
Okay, so I have a few remember wins. I definitely remember seeing 9 to 5. I definitely watched 9 to 5. I can't even count. It was on the movie channel. I watched it all the time. It was one of my favorite movies probably ever. And, obviously I lost it for many, many years. It's not like I've watched it a ton since my 30s, it kind of got lost somewhere. But as Todd said, for my birthday, every year I choose a movie that I want my girls to watch. And because it's my birthday, they're willing to do it.
Why don't you go ahead and throw a few of the movies that you have had us all watch in the last 3 or 4 years?
So the last couple of years that I can remember, I had them watch Madonna's documentary, Truth or Dare. Yeah. I did that because my girls were including me, we were so into Lady Gaga. And I would say things like, without Madonna, there probably wouldn't be Lady Gaga. And they would get really uptight about it. Yeah. And I'm like, no, you have to watch what this woman did. Yeah. So we watched Truth or Dare. We watched Swingers last year, which was one of my favorite movies in the 90s. And it connected Todd and I a little bit.
You're so money, you don't even know it.
And Cameron got a headache, though, that night. She didn't get
She bailed on it.
But Wyatt watched it with us, too.
And Skylar loved it.
And Skylar loved it. Like, I just like to... First of all, Todd and I quote movies all the time, and our girls have watched so...
Who's the big winner here tonight at the casino? Huh? Mikey, that's who. Mikey's the big winner. Mikey wins.
Mikey wins. And so I kind of want the girls to know where these quotes come from, and the fact that the movies are good. It's not like we're showing them bad movies. These are really good movies.
For sure.
So anyway, I think, so I remember watching 9 to 5. I'll just say that it was such a part of my like early adolescence. And then Working Girl, I think I saw it in the theater, and guess who I think I saw that movie with?
Your dad?
My dad.
I love it.
He took me to movies that were really good all the time. And I remember it being like, yeah, that's a good movie. And then it became more important to me later. I watched it over and over again. And here's a really deep remember when. And I had to do some really deep thinking about this one, why this happened. This is my deep remember when. 2016 election, Todd was traveling. And I think I was optimistic that night and ended up,
as a lot of us were,
not being optimistic when I saw what was happening. And I couldn't sleep. And I felt the need to watch Working Girl. And I thought it was very strange. It was like, I know I can't watch anything that brings out a lot of emotion. I need something sturdy and steadfast. And I chose Working Girl. And I had to kind of do a deep dive to why, because it was obviously I wanted to get out of my head. And I think there was part of me that wanted to go back in time a little bit. And there was also a few things that came up. Number one, that like women's ambition kind of hits a wall.
Yeah.
I think that was part of it. I think it was kind of a betrayal of female solidarity, and we thought we were going somewhere and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
We didn't have a woman president.
We were so naive.
Oh, and then the whole like idea of feminist, collective power rising, like I wasn't there yet. Like that night I had no feeling of that. Like I was just scared and sad and disappointed. But it was interesting what happened after this feminist power. That was the first time I took the girls to the Women's March, things like that started changing and happening. But so that's a remember when that I have about that. And then one thing that is not about these two movies, but I have to bring into this mix is the movie Grease. And the reason I need to bring it in is because when did Grease come out? 78 or 75?
Let's just say that it happened in 78, even though we don't know.
Okay. Well, are you looking it up or
I can. It's just take me a second.
Okay. So another thing that my whole generation grew up with, obviously, many generations continue enjoying it, but we really grew up with Grease in a big way.
June 16th, 1978.
1978. Okay. And the message at the end of Grease is basically, hey, girl, go out there and get some leather pants and get that boy back. I mean, that's really what the message was, because the crazy irony is through that whole movie, Sandy is like maintaining herself, right? She is like, no, I want to do this. And no, I don't want to smoke. And no, I'm going to be myself and I'm going to date this guy and I'm going to do cheerleading, even though my friends don't. And Danny, you can't do that. And I don't want to, she was just holding her own. And then she sings, this. And while I loved Sandy's outfit and it was awesome and she looked awesome, she kind of just let go of all of her ideals and said, screw it. I'm putting on the leather pants. I'm smoking a cigarette. I'm going to get my hair really pretty. And I'm going to get my boyfriend back. So
she changed herself to accommodate a man.
She sure did. Especially with the whole front part of the movie not changing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's almost like the message is that didn't work.
Yeah.
So again, there's little pieces in here. Danny shows up that day with his Letterman jacket.
So would you say that maybe 9 to 5 is the evolution of the shortcomings of some of the feminist energy that may or may not have come from Greece?
We're getting there. I kind of feel like there's just so many things, this gets too involved because we have all these categories we have to go through, and Todd and I don't want to get too off, target here. But, when we decided to do this, I didn't just think about Working Girl and 9 to 5. I was thinking about what we Gen Xers grew up with. And I always share or throw out there when Todd and I talk about this, I throw out the rock stars I was into. I throw out that I loved Pat Benatar when I was in elementary school, and I loved Juice Newton, and I loved Joan Jett, and I loved the Go-Go's in 5th grade. Go-Go's was exact same time as 9 to 5. It was the same year. And I loved I felt so much feminist energy, but it wasn't really.
Just bringing everybody back.
Which I think is why when my dad was like, you can do anything, I was like, I know. I'm like, here's the best rock stars are women, or to me, they were the best. And these movies, and I felt very empowered by what was going on. I think the realization that I had, and maybe the connection a little bit to the 2016 election, like I'm trying to pull a lot of threads together, is it kind of wasn't what it seems. Mm-hmm. It was a little more surfacey. It wasn't grounded. It wasn't legislated. It was almost like showmanship.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I didn't know that for a long time, because I did things that maybe I wouldn't have, made assumptions about my ability to do certain things. And I continue to do that. But I don't know. So anyway.
I like your tangents.
You like,
by the way, I do. Well, yeah. And you're trying to tie a bunch of things together, which I appreciate. And I have a new sound effect for whenever we kind of veer off track.
Stay on target.
That's from Star Wars. Oh, glad you like that one.
You're gonna have to use that a lot, and you're gonna have to play it right now because I'm going on another.
Stay on target.
Here's where we're going. We are going into Anita Hill. Okay.
Oh, wow. Here we.
You ready?
Stay on target.
Okay. I hope she comes up later too. But I just wanted to
you gotta mention her. My God.
I gotta bring this up because this was 1991. And why I remember Win so well is because I was in college and my best friend Manisha was at American University that semester in DC, and so was my friend Nancy. And I went there to see them, and the Anita Hill trial or whatever was going on. So it was really funny because I came from like Iowa where no one was talking about it at all.
Yep.
And then I went there, and every kid in there, they all had these, huge TVs, and they'd be sitting there watching what was going on because they were living DC, and everything that was going on the Hill. So basically what happened, Anita Hill testified before the Senate about Clarence Thomas, who was a Supreme Court nominee, and she talked about him sexually harassing her when he was her boss at the EEOC. So it was a televised hearing. It was a huge watershed moment for women, at least, that saw what workplace harassment actually looked like. Like if you dig into what she said, and I will, I don't have the exact quotes, but it was like total harassment, like things around porn and things around.
I got it.
Okay.
Look at pornographic films, but you told the FBI specifically that he never asked you to watch the film. Is that correct? The fact is, flatly, he never asked you to look at pornographic movies with him.
And the name of this YouTube clip is called Watch the Most Outrageous Questions Senators Asked Anita Hill in 1991.
Oh my God.
So anyways.
Well, and here's the crazy thing. Do you want to know who was in charge of that
Joe
hearing?
Biden.
Joe Biden. So it's so weird how all these things are connected. And it's not about blaming Joe Biden, but he was in charge of it.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. We knew this was, there was so much to it. Like Clarence Thomas was the first, man of color to be nominated for the Supreme Court. No, that's not true. No, because we had somebody. Anyway, there was a lot of history. There was George Bush was doing this. Correct? It was George Bush, not Reagan. Help me with the history.
1991 was HW.
HW. Thank you. And I feel like people knew this guy was going to make it on the Supreme Court. There was just a sense of like, this woman has this thing to say, and this is televised, and we're all seeing it. And her calm, composed presence. It challenged every stereotype of women.
Yeah.
Because everything was about women being hysterical or vindictive. And she's just like, here's the story. And so it totally sparked a surge in women speaking out. And this is the cool thing, a record number of women elected to Congress in 1992, because that like kind of changed
the narrative, the possibilities.
And 1992 was called the Year of the Woman. So obviously we know Clarence Thomas still made it after all that.
He's up there judging.
He's up there, doing, is that what we call it? Is that what he's doing?
He's a judge. He judges.
I don't know. So, basically it catalyzed a national conversation around gender and race and power in the workplace, because a lot of people were mad at Anita Hill because she is a Black woman and he is a Black man. And they're like, why are you trying to keep him out of power? And she was just telling her story.
Yeah.
This is what he did. And it has a lot of resonance from the Christine Blasey Ford thing with, Brett Kavanaugh. It's like, when people talk about, what are you talking about, Cathy, about misogyny? Or what are you talking about that women don't have this or that, or that people don't believe women? And we're living it right now, again, with this whole Epstein thing. Like, women are saying, here's what happened. And people are like, no, it didn't.
Well, and I'll own my own ignorance. I don't know when I realized this, but I was way too old to have this realization. But without giving it any context, I just assumed that white women were allowed to vote before men of color.
Right.
And that is not close to true.
Nope. Men
of color had the right to vote before, white women. And it's just, it's the whole thing is just a debacle.
It is. Yeah. And by the way, just so I can clear up what I was saying before, Thurgood Marshall was the first Black man on the Supreme Court. He was nominated by Lyndon Johnson.
There you go.
So I just wanted to make sure that I, came full circle there. But yeah, Todd, like there is so much, like, it's why we have to understand history. And why some people don't want us to remember history is because history then informs what's happening right now. So the last thing I'll say is all this stuff with Anita Hill and these movies and this shift, it, created cultural shifts in TV and film besides 9 to 5, which was before this, and Working Girl. Thelma and Louise came out in 1991. Murphy Brown, which again I keep bringing up my dad, but he was such a great feminist. He loved Murphy Brown. So that was a show we watched all the time. And then of course, Ally McBeal, which was one of my favorite shows. That was when I was first in the workplace. So I loved Ally McBeal. And so it was less about just a cool girl or a sidekick and more about the, main character.
I pulled up a few of the other, women's power movies.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Aside from the two that we're covering today, Hidden Figures.
Yes.
First Wives Club. And I never saw that.
It's good.
Is it good?
I mean, it's got that 9 to 5 vibe. It's a comedy, and they do a whole like musical number at the end.
Yeah. Steel Magnolias.
Yeah, that's your favorite movie.
It's not my favorite movie, sweetie.
But you always say it's one of your favorite movies.
It's a movie I truly, truly love, but I would never categorize it as one of my favorite.
You always, every time we talk about it, you're like, I love that movie.
I do. I most certainly do. I just would never put it in the
Shelby.
Well, and one thing, because I've seen that movie so many times, the title of the movie is Steel Magnolias, and magnolia is a flower, which indicates gentleness, softness, blah, blah, blah. Steel is toughness. The women in that movie, particularly Sally Field, is the steel magnolia.
Correct.
Versus the flight instructor from Top Gun.
Correct.
And Julia Roberts' husband in that movie can't stay with Julia Roberts as she's dying.
The brothers.
They all bail, and she sits there and watches her daughter die.
As women do.
As women do.
I mean, we birth babies.
Yeah. You guys are stronger.
Take care of children when they're sick. We walk them through everything. And again, we get into these things, this like women do and men don't. It's not the binary. It's just that our societal belief system, these like undercurrent belief systems about what women are and weakness and soft skills and you don't want to be a girl and throw like a girl and talk like a girl, and yet we're so strong.
Yeah,
it's like such an obvious a desire to paint women in an unflattering way, which is, I could say that more extreme, but to, keep women down. And we are actually, ridiculously strong. So anyway.
You want to hear some other movies?
Sure, go ahead.
Legally Blonde.
Yes.
Devils Wear Prada.
Sweetie, it's not Devils Wear Prada.
The Devil Wears Prada.
There you go.
Pretty Woman.
Yes.
Aaron Brockovich.
Yes.
Silkwood. Never seen it.
Yeah. Oh, sweetie, Cher. That was Meryl Streep and Cher.
I'm not a Cher fan. I'm a Meryl Streep fan.
Boy, sweetie, that's a hot take.
Is it?
Not being a Cher fan.
Yeah.
I am.
She was good in Mask, I guess. Her and Gar.
And Moonstruck.
Yeah, I never saw that.
And Mermaids. Is that what it is?
Never saw that.
Winona Ryder.
Thelma and Louise.
I said that one.
Color Purple and Bombshell. Those are the kind of the women empowerment movies the last 20, 30 years.
I like that list.
All right.
Yeah. So final thing is the whole lean in years, the Sheryl Sandberg's thing in 2013 about leaning into corporate structures that aren't built for us. That was still years away, but we're still in the 80s. So let's move on.
Jared, do you know the human head weighs 8 pounds? Jared, do you know the human head weighs 8 pounds?
All right, I actually have some stuff for this.
Let's hear it.
Let me scroll up. Random facts. Melanie Griffith's addiction nearly derailed filming.
Yes, it did.
She showed up high. I think she was on cocaine. Mike Nichols, the director, shut down production for 24 hours and made her pay $80K out of pocket for the lost day. But he told her that he was going to report her to the studio. So he basically said, I'm fining you $80K because you are no position to work that day. So I sent everybody home. Kind of like a genius move because it woke her up.
Well, and she went into rehab actually a couple weeks after
3
filming
weeks
was
after.
over.
Yeah.
But the other thing is it's kind of interesting to watch the movie because you can see when she had tough nights.
Which parts?
There's certain scenes like close-ups where she's a little puffy and her eyes are very red.
Oh, interesting.
Now, here's the thing. Again, I've seen this movie so many times and I know all this history, so it's easy for me to look for. It's not about criticizing her performance. It actually works with her character a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Not because her character was an addict in any way, but her character was not supposed to be refined.
Yeah.
There needed to be some kind of grittiness to her. So I never looked at it and said, oh, shit.
Yeah, you built it into the story.
Correct. So anyway.
Mike Nichols, the director, was also battling cocaine addiction at the same time.
Oh, geez.
The irony of directing someone through the same struggles he was facing. He mentioned that in one of his memoirs years later.
And, Mike Nichols is a very interesting director. He did a really good job with focusing on women. So I was just listening to something where they said when they did like a tribute to Mike Nichols, every single person who got up on stage and talked about him was a woman. He really did a great job highlighting, and he had many marriages, but his last marriage was to Diane Sawyer.
Mike Nichols movies, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, The Graduate, Catch-22, Carnal Knowledge, Silkwood, Working Girl, Postcards from the Edge, Birdcage, Primary Colors. Oh, he was a busy dude.
Yeah.
Okay, getting back to my random facts. Triple Crown Achievement. Carly Simon became the first artist to win Oscar, Golden Globe, and Grammy for a song she wrote, performed, and arranged entirely herself.
Play a little bit of it so people can hear it again.
Boy,
Do you remember?
I don't know.
You played it at the beginning of the show.
Oh, okay. I can do
Remember?
that. Sure, I can do that. I just need to scroll over a little bit. Here we go with Cocoon. Kind of sounds like a Disney Lion King type of song. What am I thinking of?
The skies, color of blue you've never even seen in the eyes of your love.
Oh, so good. Carly Simon is one of the best of the best.
Isn't that James Taylor's ex-wife?
They were married, but I wouldn't. And again, I know you're just trying to make the point, but they were in their own right, separate,
famous, amazing
but
musicians.
Yet they were married and they had 2 children. They do not speak anymore.
No, well, not yet, sweetie. Maybe we can bring them back together.
Oh, I just think that's just heartbreaking. But yes, they did some songs together, sweetie, like Mockingbird, Mock.
Yeah.
King.
Yeah.
Bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, massive box office success. $103 million worldwide on a $28 million budget. We're talking about Working Girl. Nice job. 6 Oscar nominations,
Yes.
including
Can I do them?
Best Picture. Sure.
Oh, Best Picture. Okay, so I think Melanie Griffith got nominated.
Oh, I don't know what they are.
Oh, Joan Cusack got nominated.
Yep, she did for sure.
Obviously, we know Song got nominated. Best Picture, so that's 4. So I'm missing 2.
Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actress, both Joan and Sigourney.
Sigourney did too.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And then Best Original Song. So 6. That's pretty good.
That's really good. And you know, a movie like this would never get Oscar consideration these days. First of all, this movie would never be made it would be on Netflix, right?
I don't know.
I mean, do you think
most movies we like nowadays don't go to the theater because if we like them, they don't make movies for us. They make movies for younger people.
And for world, it not, you know what I mean? It has to be like a Marvel or something
right.
It has to be sold to other countries.
Right. Okay. Are we ready for 9 to 5 random facts?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Dolly Parton wrote 9 to 5 using her acrylic nails as rhythm on set.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah. It's American Film Institute's 74th funniest movie of all time.
74th? Okay.
74th. Ronald Reagan watched it Valentine's Day, 1981, and wrote in his diary, loved it, but was mad about the marijuana scene. It was an endorsement of pot smoking for any young person.
Oh, that's because his wife created Just Say No.
Just got to say no. 2018 reunion attempt with Rashida Jones, but Dolly pulled the plug in 2019.
Huh.
I didn't know that. So that's all I got.
Yeah. So a few other things, random facts. One of them I already said, Dolly Parton had never acted before. That was her first film. The movie was almost called The Secretaries, but was changed to 9 to 5 partly because it was, a better title and also because Dolly's song.
Yeah.
It obviously became a total cultural juggernaut. It led to a short-lived TV show, of course. I feel like every time we talk about an 80s movie, it leads to a TV show.
They're all aspiring to be Cobra Kai, sweetie.
They are. Cobra Kai is the only one who's been able to do it well. Or maybe not the only one, but one of the only.
Yeah.
It became a Broadway musical. It just has a really long legacy. So 9 to 5 crushed in a good way.
Yeah.
Working Girl, 1988. Melanie Griffith was almost passed over. They saw her more as a sex symbol than like being able to take on this role. And it's interesting because the things she did before it, before Working Girl, were very sexual.
Yeah, Something
nature.
Wild.
Yeah, exactly. And so it kind of makes sense, but you kind of feel like that's what you want in Tess, right? I mean, well, I don't want to step on my other categories. I have things to say about her.
Can I quickly tell you about my interpretation or my observation of Melanie Griffith as a sex symbol?
Sure.
When she has the big hair, does not turn me on at all. But as soon as she gets that haircut, forget about it.
Well, it's kind of a Cinderella story, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's like you look this way, and then all of a sudden they dress you up and you look amazing.
Yeah, because she probably goes heavy on the makeup when she's got the big hair. Like, is it just the hair? Like, does she do a whole like redo, or is it just the hair?
It's mostly the hair. There's some makeup there, and then her clothes. I mean, she doesn't have, like, when she goes into Catherine's closet and gets that black dress, that's the biggest dress of the whole thing, where she's at the bar. I mean, she doesn't have access to that kind of those clothes.
Got good stuff.
Another piece is Alec Baldwin, who plays Mick, her like fiance or boyfriend. He was supposed to be Jack.
Oh.
And he was actually offered the role because Harrison Ford passed. And then Harrison Ford came back and said, no, I'll do it. And so he got demoted to Mick.
Speaking of Mick.
Yes, will you marry me?
Maybe.
It's an answer.
You want another answer? Ask another girl.
Ask another girl.
And come on, again, it's a WTF. Should I go into my WTF or
go ahead? Oh no, can we go right into it right now?
No, because I have a few other things.
Go ahead.
To say. Actually, go into it.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it? I always screw that up.
So
not this time.
The WTF, one of my first ones, is the fact that part of Working Girl is that Tess comes home and finds Mick in bed with Doreen DiMucci. Or is that her name?
I love the fact that you know not just the first, but the last name.
Doreen. Well, because she says it, like Doreen DiMucci. And then he's like, oh, I thought you were supposed to be a class or whatever. And then, of course, so she kind of walks out and goes on the ferry for a while. And I think she spends the night on the ferry. But then the next time they're together, he's like, will you marry me?
Totally makes sense.
And the fact that Cindy, who is Joan Cusack, is like, give Mick a break. Like, WTF? Come on.
Yeah.
Like, unfair. So anyway, that's just my first one.
I just want to just plug into something here. I'm trying to, when you talked about Mick getting busted in bed with the girl,
With Doreen DiMucci,
I immediately thought of Billy Hicks getting busted in the hot tub. Is there any other movies that or scenes you can think of where a guy's getting busted?
Let's see. I feel like I'm seeing Andrew McCarthy in my head. Didn't Rob Lowe walk in on him with his mom in class?
There you go. That's a good one.
Let's see. What else where someone's getting busted? God, there's so many movies where people get busted. Right. Oh, I know. Boogie Nights.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's like the worst scene of all time.
That's bad. And yeah, there's others, but those are the ones that come off the top of my head.
So we are on WTF.
Yes. So a few more.
Yeah, I got a few too.
Kevin Spacey in the limo.
Yeah.
Who she's told, Tess is told, this is before she gets her other job. She's told that she's going to go with this guy. I think it's from Albatross or something. I don't remember all the names, but she's going to like meet this guy and he's going to help her get ahead. And she gets in the limo and it's Kevin Spacey and he's not going to help her get ahead. He just wants to do cocaine and have sex.
Yeah.
So she realizes that. And then I think goes back to the workplace and like types in so-and-so is a sleazoid pimp or something. Yeah. Anyway, so Kevin Spacey just kind of doing his,
his thing.
Little did we know what would happen in the future.
Right.
And then again, WTF Joan Cusack's hair and makeup.
But that's why it's so good.
And that's what it was like.
Yeah.
And again, they were from Long Island.
Yeah.
So there is like, we can say the 80s were excessive, but I think Long Island was even more excessive.
Yeah.
And so there was a normalcy to it. But if our girls were to watch Working Girl, which was potential for my birthday, but we'll maybe do it.
You should have done a double feature.
I should have made them stay.
That's right.
This would be a great double feature, by the way.
Oh yeah.
But if my girls were around, they'd be like, "What's going on?" They'd be like, "WTF?"
Yeah. Do you have any more?
No, go ahead.
I said this while we were watching it, and it kind of reminded me of The Deer Hunter.
And are we talking about 9 to 5 now?
Talk about 9 to 5.
Okay.
In The Deer Hunter, Cathy and I watched that a while back, or at least part of it. And it's like 3-hour-long movie, won Best Picture. It's this incredible, sad movie. It is so slow. So slow. Like there's scenes where like nothing's happening for like 3 minutes.
I don't agree with this take, but I know.
I'm talking about The Deer Hunter right now.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about 9 to 5.
I'm about to pivot over to 9 to 5.
The Deer Hunter, I fully agree.
But thank you for helping me.
Stay on target.
Now I'm going to pivot over to 9 to 5.
Okay.
The 3 sequences of each of the woman's fantasies about, I understand that it's an important piece of the movie puzzle. I just feel like if that movie got made today, it would be so much shorter.
Condensed, yeah.
Condensed, because each one is like 6 minutes long. Like a good 20 minutes is just the fantasy of what they might do for the boss. And I remember I watched an interview with the woman that Jane Fonda connected with that was the inspiration of this movie. And they were surveying all these secretaries, and they asked a question that finally got the creative juices flowing. And the question was, do you ever fantasize about doing something horrible to your boss? And that was what created the inspiration for the movie.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you remember what their 3 fantasies were about killing the boss? You don't remember?
I was like 2.5 vodka Red Bulls in by then. I just remember like, this is taking a while.
Okay. So I will tell you.
Yeah.
First of all, they all bond. They go to Charlie's to get a drink, and then they all go back to Dorley's house to smoke pot because Violet, that's Lily Tomlin, her son gave her a joint.
Yeah.
So they go back to Dorley's house to smoke pot. They start smoking, and then they all share their fantasy of how they want to kill their boss, what they do. And Judy, that is, Jane Fonda, she says she wants to hunt him down. And the reason that that's a big deal is when she goes in his office, she sees that he has a deer on his wall.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, a deer. And he's like so proud of shooting this animal. So she's kind of like, I want him to get a taste of being hunted.
Yeah.
You know, so there's like, it's not just about I want to shoot someone. It's about he hunts people or hunts animals. So that's hers. And then Dorley's is that she gives him a taste of his own medicine, and because he hits on her all the time, she's his main secretary and he's totally inappropriate with her, so she's inappropriate with him in the fantasy, and then she hog ties him.
Mm-hmm.
Then Violet's is that, and she does a whole Snow White thing, that she puts poison in his coffee. And I love that part of the movie. Now, I know you said while we were watching, wow, this is long. I don't feel that way just because that's one of my favorite parts.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, and everything in the movie is based off of those fantasies.
Yeah.
Because that's then how we jump into what happened.
That's the framework for the rest of the movie.
Right. So it's not that I don't see what you're talking about because it is slow. You know what I mean? It's like, but our attention span is so crappy.
Right. Totally. Do you want me to play any of the clip on a good old fashioned ladies pot party? Because you did have that built in.
Sure. Go ahead and play them when they're at Charlie's.
What? It's my turn. I've got it. I've really got it. What's that?
Violet, I didn't think you smoked. You roll your own?
This is a gift from my son. Let's just pop over to the ladies' room and light up.
Is that one of them marijuana cigarettes?
We don't have enough for everybody. Cool it. Come on.
No, we can't do that, Violet. Someone might come in.
It is dangerous, Violet.
Would you two show a little spunk? I mean, what are you, a man or a mouse? I mean, a woman or a wouse?
Hey, why don't we...
Is that good?
That's good. And then they decide to go to Dorley's.
I'm going to ask you an unfair question.
Sure.
Who's your favorite character of these three?
Violet.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I love Dorley. I love Dolly Parton. And I like
You're not supposed
Jane
to like
Fonda.
Judy, right?
Yeah, but Judy,
She's the most
so
boring.
tight,
Yeah.
and she's boring. And I like her. She has a big moment where she yells at her ex-husband and everybody claps and it's all good. But Violet is the bomb. I mean, Violet.
She's the leader.
She's the leader, A. B, she's been in that office forever. She trained Mr. Hart.
Yeah.
So that's how long she's been there. She's vying for this promotion that he ends up having a man take over because he says to her, he's got a family to raise. And she's like, and I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's raising children by herself.
Yeah.
And then she also actually, there's a clip I have where, let me see if I can figure out which one it is, but it's one of I'd say it's like my favorite quote.
Okay.
I
Is
think
it from Working Girl or
no,
9 to
it's
5?
from 9 to 5. And I think the pop party, Best Girl from Working
I've
Girl.
Killed the Boss.
No, not that one. I don't know which one it is. I don't know. I can't pull it up, but it's
Just
fair.
tell me if this is it.
Okay.
Do you have any change?
I think so.
I just sit right here.
I'm going to lose my job.
It's not that. It's not that.
I'm going to save that for later.
It's more about something she says in front of Dorley. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
We'll pull those up later.
Okay.
But then and at the same time, what I will say is that it is kind of WTF. The whole plot of 9 to 5 is WTF.
Yeah.
They kidnap their boss.
Yeah. It's over the top.
It's so over the top, but it's a comedy.
Yeah.
And it felt like, because in reality, we couldn't get power.
Yeah.
There was so much working against us that felt like a nice fantasy for a moment.
Could I share something that has nothing to do with the movie, but something to do with one of the actresses from the movie? I think you'll know where I'm going here. Melanie Griffith and her marital history.
Sure.
She married Don Johnson when she was 18.
And they had been dating since?
She was 14.
Yes. Right?
How old was Don when she was 14?
I don't know.
Let's just say I don't think he was 14.
No, he was not.
Didn't Jerry Lee Lewis marry
his cousin?
She was cousin who was 13.
Priscilla Presley as well. She was a child.
I just wonder if there's ever a better example of WTF than those three examples.
I know. Yeah. So basically, they got married, they got divorced, but then they got married again.
Yeah. So it ends well.
And
now they're married.
When she went to the Academy Awards, when she was nominated, she was pregnant with Dakota, her daughter, Dakota Johnson, who is now an actress in her own right, who kind of has a very similar vibe to her mom.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not that different. And I think that's true with Meryl Streep's daughters too. I mean, because they look similar to their moms and everything, but she kind of, Dakota Johnson, I mean, she did 50 Shades. Like, she did a very sexual role. That's how she came out. And now she's been in a bunch of really good things, some bad things too. I think she's very well respected in the industry, but she's kind of got a Melanie Griffith vibe.
Yeah. Are we ready for best quote, I think?
Yeah, we're getting there. But one more thing in the WTF, and I kind of said this already, but is the whole idea of, and I'm going to talk about Working Girl, celebrating individual women's success in the system without questioning how the system harms women. So there's a lot of like, how can I get ahead personally within this system? Again, that's not built for me. And it's like, if I work harder, if I speak up more, instead of asking why workplaces are so unequal or exclusionary. And so it focuses on representation at the top instead of like equity across all the levels. And, you know, I think we call that neoliberal feminism, where it's about individualized success versus it being a system that is, you know, works. So when Tess at the end of Working Girl gets the job in the office and the man, it's without addressing the system at all, the one that kind of kept her down. You know what I mean? So it's a personal victory inside of an unchanged system.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's what most movies in the 80s and 90s were about. And that's kind of what I mean about what Gen X grew up with.
Yeah.
Is that it really shaped that the system is rigged. We're never going to get ahead. But if we do things differently or scheme or kidnap the boss or, you know, show up in this certain way or have this surprise or take someone else down, maybe we can get to the top. And you can see how that kind of mentality then makes it feel like there can only be one woman.
Yeah.
You know, and so of course in this movie, Catherine, played by Sigourney Weaver, has to be a villain. You know, we hate her.
Sure.
So, you know, so I'm just saying that as far as less about criticizing because it was of the time, but more about that we grew up with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Are we ready for best scene?
Let's do it.
Dad, you must have jumped this thing about 50 yards.
It's nothing to be proud of, Rusty. 50 yards.
I think we have a similar best. Maybe we don't. I don't know. What do you have for best scene?
Well, my favorite scene, you know, when you said, why did you just came upstairs and you said, why did you choose this number? Because it's just music.
Yeah.
Can you play that?
Sure. I think this is it.
No,
it's not it. I think this is it.
Yes. So this is my favorite scene in 9 to 5.
So can you describe?
Yes. What's happening right now as this music is playing is Violet thinks that she has found Mr. Hart's body. So she's deciding to take his body and get rid of it. So this whole scene is probably, the whole thing in the hospital is great.
Yeah.
But that scene is really funny. And actually, Todd, there's another quote there that I have where it says he's dead.
Let's see. Is this possibly it?
I think so. I just sit right here.
I'm gonna lose my job.
Violet, now just calm
It's the
down.
other one.
No.
It's the other one.
Oh my God, they found out about it already.
Oh, don't panic. Please don't panic.
Hey, how is he, Doc?
He's dead.
Oh,
My God.
can you tell what caused it?
Not without an autopsy. You fellas can come into my office. I'm fairly certain it was some kind of poison. Poison?
Oh,
Not a lot of empathy from that doctor.
I know. We laughed because they totally play that for laughs. You're not getting the whole gist of the scene, but he just comes out. He's like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
So that whole scene is my favorite in 9 to 5. What's your favorite scene in 9 to 5?
I just did favorite scene in both movie in combining them. And it was, I don't even know if I can explain it, but I think it's when she's talking to Trask when Tess is
in Working Girl. Okay.
Is that the elevator or does she have a few different?
It's so funny. I wrote down the wedding scene.
Oh, the wedding
scene. Is that
scene?
your favorite?
No, it is not the wedding
It's
scene.
in the elevator.
Yeah.
So I actually have some of that.
Okay.
When he gets off the elevator and asks Catherine, I sent it to you.
Yes, you did.
So you can play this part.
All right. No, it's not that one. It's this one, I think.
Warren, we really don't have any more time for fairy tales.
Is this it?
Yeah.
Miss Parker, let me ask you a question. How did you come up with the idea for Trask to buy up Metro?
How did I, well, let's see, the
impulse. What led you to put the two together?
Well, you know, I would have to check my files. I can't recall exactly the,
Well, generally. It's not as if it was in the mainstream.
You know, it would have to be the, Jack, help me out here. Warren, I beg your pardon, but if you are insinuating...
Miss Parker, if I were you, I'd go to your office and take a long last look around. Because in about 5 minutes, I'm going to see to it that you get the boot, but good.
Warren, this is a simple misunderstanding, and you cannot...
I can and I will. Now get your... What did you call it?
Oh,
yes. Right. Pony ass out of my sight.
So did you like what happened before that?
No, that was it. That was mine.
So basically what happened before that is Tess is trying to explain to the main guy, this was my idea and Catherine stole it. So she gets on an elevator with him and says, here's how I came up with it, which is hilarious because it's about radio, which radio doesn't exist anymore, you know, but she's like, he should, instead of buying a television station, he should buy a radio station. Here's how I came up with the idea. And I was reading this in the, you know, Wall Street Journal or whatever. And she totally explains. So then when they get off, he asks Catherine, how did you come up with this idea? So it's a very, what is it, satisfying?
Yeah. Oh, you like to see a person who got busted to get busted.
Exactly.
Fun to witness.
And then my other favorite scene, which I didn't give you, you know, nothing to pull up, but is when they go, you know, in the movie, she picks up Jack and he thinks that they're going to go to a meeting, but really they're going to go to Trask's wedding for his daughter Bitsy, and or someone named Bitsy, I can't remember. Anyway, and they go there and she gets a dance with him and then gives him her idea. So it's just a really cool way of, like, you know, engaging.
Yeah, that's a fun scene.
It's a fun scene. Yeah, they get away with it, you know. So are you ready for Zen Parenting, or do you have more?
Rolling in the deep. All right, what do you got?
All right. So just a few things in Rolling in the Deep. We've kind of discussed some of it because we've talked about Anita Hill and we've talked about, you know, the history of sexism and everything like that. But so feminism for Gen X, it wasn't about what the 60s were about. Okay. Because the 60s were about like the burning of the bras. And it was like I don't know what wave it is. I get, my daughter is a global studies.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Okay.
The burning of the bras.
Uh-huh.
I know that was like what a lot of the women did in the 60s at Woodstock and all that. Because the bras represented men wanting women to be a certain way.
Yeah, I guess so.
But don't you, as somebody with breasts, like bras? Because
it's a representation, babe. It's not like literal. Like, I don't want to wear a bra.
Yeah.
It's a representation. So of course we need them and like them. But man, they kind of suck too.
Well, one of my mom's favorite part of the day was taking her bra off. I remember that. And she'd like slide it out of her shirt. And she's like, "Oh my God, thank goodness."
And it's one of your wife's favorite things too. Yeah, but it's, you know, it's not about the literal.
Yeah.
It's about the metaphorical or whatever we want to call it.
Okay.
You know, it's the point.
Yeah.
But I was going to say that, you know, JC is a global studies and women's studies major. And so she understands these waves of feminism better than I do. I have the gist, but she has the deep history. So I try to not use the language incorrectly because sometimes she rightly corrects me in how I say it. But what I will say is that in the 80s, our feminism was about getting a job, doing things better than everybody else. You know, I can bring home the bacon,
Fry it up in the pan?
Yes. Can you find that?
Yeah, of course.
And then also getting paid fairly, or at least getting paid in that realm. It was never really fair. We've always been paid less than men, but that was the goal. So it was about navigating like the office politics, sexual harassment, which finally was labeled in 86, glass ceilings, and surviving and bending inside the culture rather than outside of it.
You ready for this?
Yeah, let's go.
You can put the wash on the fire, feed the kids, get dressed, pass out the kisses, and get to work by 5 and 9. 'Cause I'm a woman.
Is that the one?
Yeah, keep going.
Give her Angeline, the 8-hour perfume for that 24-hour woman.
There we go.
Up in a pan, and never let you forget you're a man. 'Cause I'm a woman.
Sweetie, as long as you're helping me not forget I'm a man, you're fine.
I knew you were going to say that. I mean, come on. So basically, let's think about that. Like, I'm going to be a sociologist here for a second. It's like, woman, you can get ahead, but man, don't be scared.
Yeah.
Because I'm still going to come home and make sure your
I
ego.
still need you to be a woman, and I still need to make sure that you think I'm a man.
Yes. And then I'm going to stroke your ego, and all the other things, and make you feel good about who you are. But I'm going to try and get ahead. And you're like, as long as you keep me as number one. So there was a lot of like, I don't know, there's a word, capitulating. I don't know. I want to come up with a word like maneuvering inside of that box.
Yeah.
Like how do we get ahead, but still not make men feel upset about it?
Oh.
I think we're still doing that.
Yes, we are. You still do it with me.
I do.
It's
I do.
part of cultural conditioning.
It sure is women know how to speak in
Navigate
such a way.
it's the Meryl Streep thing. Women know how to speak men.
We know how to speak men.
Men
and we know
do not know how to speak women.
When men pull that up because we've used it in other podcasts, like when we were doing Zen Parenting Radio, but it's worth playing. Like women have all this experience in how to speak in a way that men can hear it. And men don't have that same experience with women.
All right. I think this is it.
Okay.
Women have learned the language of men, have lived in the house of men all their lives. We can speak it. You know how when you learn language, you learn French, you learn Spanish, it isn't your language until you dream in it. And the only way to dream in it is to speak it. And women speak men. But men don't speak women. They don't dream in it.
I think what Meryl's trying to say.
You know who says that?
Bradley Whitford.
Yeah. That's such a funny line.
It is. He's a great feminist.
Oh yeah, he is.
He's not only is he outward about it, but think West Wing, you think Handmaid's Tale.
And that gives him permission to make that joke.
Exactly, because he's not one of the people who does that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it was good timing.
It was really funny.
Yeah, it was good timing. He was mansplaining for her. But he, that's the thing is like we can fight these battles and people will be like, but with my wife, blah, blah. I hear you. I know that
We're talking about the collective.
We're talking about the collective, and women have marinated in it. We know how to pull back and how to not make a man feel uncomfortable. And why do we do that? Survival.
Mm-hmm.
We do that because to survive in a workplace, to survive literally, to not be harmed. Primally, we have learned how to speak in such a way. And so this is so much a part of what every culture has learned this, but this was big in the 80s because we brought this kind of instinct into the workplace and kept ourselves small in the attempt to get big.
Yeah.
And so it was, again, it's just so important for us, those of us who are my age, and even, some millennials too. We don't have to go by Gen X. I think it's true. It's still true. I was listening to some girls, Gen Z girls, because obviously my book, Restoring Our Girls, Gen Z girls are who helped me write that. And they still struggle with these things. They'll be like, I've learned all these things. I know that I'm supposed to focus on myself and not believe I'm less than. And how do I keep the culture from seeping in? Mm-hmm. Like, how do I maintain what I know? And then we end up feeling ashamed because we're not holding all those things like equally.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere. We can't feel ashamed when the culture is telling us get smaller.
So what are you swimming?
I mean, like, and I think this is very literal for most people, but I'm going to say it. The whole thing with women being obsessed with bodies and body type and diets and eating and clean and raw and, being small and weighing themselves, it's all connected to telling women to be smaller. Like, don't take up as much space. Don't speak out. Be a smaller presence. Don't be any, so there's, obviously it's not literal. It's not about then we should be big, big, big people. It's just about, yes, we should be big people, but it's not just about body type. But do you see how all this is connected?
Yeah.
Like, we all get so distracted by our looks because we're told to be something, and then it becomes internalized into our bodies of we should be smaller and take up less space. There's very many layers to this. So anyway, again, on that note, appearance was power, but it was also a trap. So like in Working Girl, it taught us that transforming your look opens doors, like tease your hair less, talk softer. Remember how Melanie Griffith talks?
Mm-hmm.
Dress the part. It was a requirement to be taken seriously. You had to look differently. And I get that there is a corporate culture, and I'm not saying that's completely brand new, but it's that same thing with all the movies in the 90s and the 80s where the woman would take off her glasses and then all of a sudden she was a totally different human being.
Remember that on Brady Bunch? One of the Bobby's or Greg's or Peter's girlfriend had the glasses and had a hairdo, and then she took her glasses off and did her hair, and all of a sudden she was a different person.
Yeah, and there's totally so many teen movies about that. Even The Summer I Turned Pretty right now, which is like just it's called The Summer I Turned Pretty.
Yeah. And she wasn't pretty before.
Right. She wasn't pretty before because she had glasses and braces.
Yeah.
And, so it's the point of like, then one summer my glasses came off and then all of a sudden both brothers loved me, So, and again, I watched the show, so I'm not throwing shade because I watch it too. But it's like, let's see where all this came from, right? So again, another thing about feminism, it was filtered through a lens of performance. Like if you want to succeed, you learned the code of how to succeed. You pretended it was yours. Like there was a lot of like inauthenticity, and again, that's what Catherine's doing.
Yeah.
She's like pretending she's some big wig and taking other people's ideas and, pretending to play the part. And literally Tess is pretending to be her.
Yeah.
Like there's all this pretense. And then, the message we get basically is feminism is allowed, but only if you're pretty and polite.
That's right.
About your feminism.
Fall in the line.
So a lot of these things I already said. Working Girl is that it's about one woman winning, but it wasn't about all of us winning. It was about one woman winning.
And one woman losing.
Right, exactly. And then 9 to 5 was a vision of women working together, but it really didn't end up with them getting promoted. They just got away with
what's his name was sent to Brazil, right?
Correct.
And then who ends up being the boss?
We don't find out.
Oh.
All we know is that they're not going to go to prison for, kidnapping their boss. And they did all of these things to like make the office better.
Yeah.
But do you know why the guy who looks like Colonel Sanders showed up to promote, Dabney Coleman or, Mr. Hart?
He's making more money.
Because they were making more money.
Yeah.
It was not about the fact that the office was brighter, that they had a program for people who had addiction issues, that they were doing shared work responsibility, that they had a daycare. He didn't care about, he liked that because it helped
as
with
long as
money.
It's going to help me make more money.
Exactly. So the whole, it was not a dismantling.
Well, that's kind of the cool part about the whole story is if you treat people well, then you'll make more money.
Right. And maybe that is.
Usually have it backwards.
Yeah.
Usually we're just trying to make money at the expense of people.
Right. And we scare them.
Yeah.
We use fear to motivate them. So, again, from, 9 to 5, feminism was about personal empowerment, but not a collective change because not much really changed. Mr. Hart, even though he was getting sent to Brazil, and that's not
still
great,
getting promoted.
He still got promoted.
Yeah, right.
So and then we know that women could be the villain, Catherine Parker in Working Girl, and even in 9 to 5. Remember Roz?
Yeah, she was a bad guy.
She was a bad guy. And then again, I'm reiterating this: Feminism is framed as personal strategy and not social justice. And the reason why I think this is really important is you're going to have to do the stay on target because I'm going in another direction.
Stay on target.
So I'm going to talk about MLMs, which are multi-level marketing schemes. Okay. And I'm using the word scheme on purpose. I've said this a lot. If you've been listening to Zen Parenting, I've done all sorts of research into cults, and I read about them all the time and watch every documentary under the sun, and have been in a few of my own, less big than Scientology and NXIVM, but still experiences that were very cult-like. And MLMs, the multi-level marketing, I'll just start with this so you guys know I'm on track here. 99% of people who join MLMs either lose money or make nothing at all. So that means less than 1% of participants in an MLM make a profit. What's an MLM? Where you basically have somebody who's like an individual salesperson who sells things to you, but they also bring in a team of people. So then there's something called like a downline, where the person at the very top makes money, but the people that they're bringing in at the bottom to sell things do not make money. And so there's a lot of makeup that is sold this way. There's products for the kitchen that are sold this way, products for cooking that are sold this way. There are, it's a very girl bossy, #girl boss kind of scheme, like the pants that everyone was selling, LuLaRoe or whatever. They did a whole documentary on that. There are people at the very, 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 very top who make money, and everybody else loses money, and because they're expected to buy inventory and then figure out how to sell it. Yeah. So usually they're left with closets of things they never sell. Why am I connecting this to the whole personal strategy? Is because it preys on women. MLMs prey on women who are home with their children, or women who are not allowed to, and when I'm saying allowed, cannot go out to work because they have to take care of kids or whatever it may be. So an MLM comes in and says, you want to be your own boss? Yeah. Come work for me. You can start selling this makeup. You can start selling all these products, and you're going to feel good about it. And we're going to, you can come to the conference once a year, and we're going to cheer you, we're going to cheer you on. And you're going to, you know what? This has been around forever, Todd. Tupperware, Mary Kay Cosmetics, these are all MLMs. Yeah. And so do you remember what Mary Kay Cosmetics that the women would want to win?
Pink Cadillac?
Pink Cadillacs. Now you would see them. So some people had them, but actually getting to that level was virtually impossible. 1%. And so I'm saying this because feminism as a personal strategy, we become targets for these.
I had to do it.
I know.
Just real quick, I got introduced by an MLM when I was 21, and it was about phones. It had something to do with phones or long distance or all that. But everything you just said does more point towards women because of their lack of choices.
Well, and I think if you looked up the stats, the percentage of women versus men in an MLM are extreme. It doesn't mean that there aren't men in it. It just means that women are targeted. And I know this because I'm targeted by the women who are doing it. I know so many women who have done MLMs. You know what an MLM was also? Young Living Oils. Yeah. And I did Young Living Oils. Now, the thing is if you remember correctly, I'd say, I'm never going to sell this. Now, but one of my yoga teachers, she said, but go ahead and just be a seller and you'll be in my downline. Yeah. I didn't understand any of that at the time. I'm like, okay, I never sold it, just bought it for myself because you could get it wholesale, right? And then I remember the day I decided, I called her, or I didn't call her, I emailed her and said, I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore. And she was so angry with me.
As well she should be, because you chose to stop buying oils, sweetie. How dare you?
I screwed up her downline.
Yeah.
And so basically all the oils that I was buying for myself or maybe buying for one of my daughters or whatever, she was getting a kickback from that.
Of course.
So she was pissed at me for being
taking money out of her pocket.
So these are all things and please, anybody who's listening who's like, no, Cathy, go Google this. This is not a Cathy opinion. This is statistically real. And the thing is there's all sorts of things about this as far as legislation that has been passed to protect MLMs because the people at the top
are good
lobbyists. And so there's all sorts of and this goes back to the Reagan era. This is not just recently. it's a mess. But my point is that when we don't think about systems and building equality into a system, we end up leaving women, to do it on their own and to rise through something that often, like this, they get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that was my stay on target.
Okay.
But I think I'm good. Do you want to do parental guidance now?
Gonna be like you. And the cats and the cradle and the sea.
All right, what do you got?
Well, one thing I want to say that kind of blends between Rolling in the Deep and parental guidance is, just to be very clear, the feminists in these movies, they weren't bad. They were just feminists of their time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have this thing where I cancel movies from history. Obviously, you guys can tell because we've been doing some movies that have some serious flaws in them.
Yeah.
It's just about recognizing it's of their time and how it shaped us as a generation into something more pragmatic, or, it's a feminism of survival. Like wherever you are, you're just doing what you can with the time. So parental guidance, like I guess I'll just reiterate that we told our girls they could do everything, anything, but we didn't always show them how the system worked or how it would backfire on them, because
we're trying to protect them from their innocence.
Correct.
But now, one's 23 years old.
Right. So like Working Girl 9 to 5 made us believe in possibility. And so we encouraged our daughters to dream big and to get educated and to speak up and to not settle. But we didn't always talk about the real costs of that, like the sexism, the gatekeeping, the double standards we all still face. We raised girls to believe they could have it all, but we left them unprepared with how they'd have to continually fight for it.
I think that's a hard part of parenting, because obviously, like, let's be extreme. We're not going to tell our 6-year-old, 9-year-old, whatever the age is where they might watch a movie like this, about all of the deeper, kind of darker, systemic things. And then you just kind of forget about it. And then you I don't know when, like, nothing like shakes you and says, okay, it's time to teach your daughters of the reality of the system that they're being born into.
So the reason I did a little commercial at the beginning of this podcast about restoring our girls is that's what my book is about.
Yeah.
Is in pre-adolescence, adolescence, teenage years, we have to start talking to them about the obstacles that they will deal with and normalizing the experiences they've had. A lot of times girls feel guilty or, God forbid, ashamed because they, don't know how to navigate a system, or they get passed over or hit on, and they feel like they did something wrong.
Yeah.
Versus understanding the gatekeeping aspects of certain cultures.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what, I have all sorts of stories in my book about. Some of them are about my own daughters and about girls I've worked with where, things that are extreme, like date rape situations where they feel like it's their fault. And, situations where, like the story I told, the first time JC went downtown wearing makeup with her friend and all these college guys were hitting on them, and how they kind of thought it was funny, but they were also scared, and how to have that conversation with your girls about it's normal to like attention.
Yeah.
It's okay to wear what you want to wear. But at the same time, if something like that happens, what will you do?
Yeah.
Not how will you feel ashamed and never wear those clothes again or whatever. It's not like it was even inappropriate, but like one of the big complaints, Todd and I just went to Lollapalooza last weekend, and which we enjoyed very much in our city of Chicago. But a lot of the complaints is about how girls are dressed. And I totally get it. Some girls are dressed really, they don't have a lot of clothes on and they're very young. Like we saw a lot of young girls, didn't we, Todd?
Yeah, they're half naked.
Yeah. And
I'm so old, by the way.
And those were very young girls. Women, grown women, we should be able to wear what we want to wear. Like we are grown women, and nobody tells you guys what to wear.
No.
And so now there's a lot of, well, what do you expect from men? So then we blame women for what they wear instead of saying to men, can you learn how to handle this?
Yeah.
Can you kind of take care of yourselves and not blame women for whatever feelings you're having and not acting on those? Like, and that, there's a lot of pressure on women to, modulate what is the word I'm looking for, to change themselves in some way, or to hold back, or to wear more clothes, or to, And again, I know there's all sorts of nuance in here. You know, you have to think about where you are and what's appropriate in a certain setting. I get it. You know, I've parented 3 daughters. Believe me, I've had these conversations a million times. But I also think we need to point out who gets blamed.
Yeah.
Right. And so talking to our girls about these obstacles. That's all I'll say.
All right.
So a few other things for our girls. We encourage, you know, and these movies kind of demonstrate this, a resilience and an independence. But we often still expect them to be perfect within this. You know, these movies kind of glorified clever, hardworking women who figure it out on their own. But so we start emphasizing all those things like independence and self-reliance, but at the same time, we expect them to do it flawlessly and without being too emotional. Like there's this box, and I know there's a man box too, but that we're kept in. Like we should be resilient and go out there and take risks, but don't be too loud while you do it. Don't make a fuss. So we raise girls to be both powerful but palatable at the same time. But we didn't really change our parenting for boys through these movies. We didn't talk about like,
of course,
don't be a Mr. Hart.
This is a girl's movie.
I know.
I'm being sarcastic. This is a movie. I don't need to see 9 to 5 because one, it paints the boss, who's a man, as a bad guy. So why would I want to see that movie?
Yeah, like these films, they like focused on breaking women's barriers, but they didn't offer any new model of masculinity.
No, it's like a wonderful, teachable movie for us to show our young men. And maybe my mom shared 9 to 5 with my sister.
Maybe.
Right. But not me and John, because what do we have to learn from that?
Yeah. It's like we encourage girls to take up space, right? We're like, you got to take up more space, but we don't talk to sons about making space or rethinking what power looks like.
And my example of that is when Dr. John Duffy was bringing his son, his niece, and his nephew to Indiana University as freshmen, he spent most of his time teaching his niece how to stay safe at bars.
Right.
And he did not spend much time, by his own admission, his own embarrassing admission, he didn't spend much time with his son and his nephew about how to look out for women.
Or to just in their own brain to understand consent. And not because, they can look out for women and be like a caretaker in some way, but they also need to understand that it's sometimes the nice guys who make poor choices because nobody has talked to them about what consent is. So there's all sorts of levels to this. So I'm ready for what did it teach us if you are.
All right. I feel like we've been talking about this the whole time.
Yes, we have. And so I'm going to, stay on target here. I am going to go off target and
stay on target.
I'm going to talk about something different. And maybe you can look this up while I'm talking about it. So I want to talk about Reese Witherspoon talking about ambition. Can you look up her speech? There's a specific part of it that I really want to talk about it, but see if you can find it, because ambition is totally central to these movies, to 9 to 5 and Working Girl.
I got a 2.5-minute clip of her talking about ambition is not a dirty word.
Yes, and that's what I'm looking for. So before you play it, she's speaking this it's in 2015, so it's a long time ago, 10 years ago, at the Glamour Women of the Year Awards, and she kind of reframed ambition for the first time as something that women should own and not downplay. We're oftentimes, when women talk about being ambitious, we're often called selfish or, self-focused, or we're not caring enough about motherhood or our partner, or we're more worried about money than we should be. And is anyone talk to men about that they shouldn't be worried about money?
Right.
Like, why can't women have ambition?
Right.
Now, the irony is I'm actually in a conversation with a friend right now about how my ambition has changed. Like I used to be a certain kind of ambitious in my 30s, another kind of ambitious in my 40s, and now in my 50s. It's not that my ambition has gotten small. It's just shifted in what I'm ambitious about.
You're ambitious about family time and vacations, and not as ambitious about being the New York Times bestseller.
There's been a shift in that area for sure, but I still want to work.
Of course you do.
Like I'm ambitious about it's less
Not to
about
feed your
the
ego.
fame. Exactly. That used to be a thing. And now it's more about, I want to be a good writer
Yeah.
and I want to connect with good writers
Yeah.
and I want to like teach a really good class and I want to, do a great podcast that you and I enjoy. My ambition is changing in how it looks. But do you want to play some of that clip, what Reese said?
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we are in a cultural crisis. In every field and every industry, women are underrepresented and underpaid in leadership positions. And the reason we're all talking about it tonight, under 5% of CEOs of Fortune 500 companies are women. Only 19% of Congress is women. No wonder we don't have the health care we deserve, or paid family leave, or public access to early childhood education. And that really worries me. How can we expect legislation with our rights and our needs being preserved if we don't have equal representation? So here's my hope. If you're in politics, the media, the tech industry, working as an entrepreneur or a teacher or a construction worker or a caregiver, you know the problems we are all facing. And I urge each one of you to ask yourselves, what do we do now? That's a big question. What is it in your life that you think you cannot accomplish? Or what is it that people have said that you cannot do? Wouldn't it feel really good to prove them all wrong?
So there's more to that. And I encourage everyone to go on YouTube and look at it. But one of the things she says later is, I believe ambition is not a dirty word. It's just believing in yourself and your abilities. Imagine this. What would happen if we were all brave enough to be a little more ambitious? I think the world would change. And right after this is when she started Hello Sunshine, which is her production company. And she has since sold it for $1 billion or something like that. And she started, taking movie or books written by women, doing a book club, promoting their books, and then having those books be turned into movies through her production company. So she spoke it and lived it. And so
she was actually about to say that.
Go ahead then. I'm sorry.
I believe ambition is not a dirty word.
Thank you.
It's just believing in yourself and your abilities. Imagine this. What would happen if we were all brave enough to believe in our own ability, to be a little bit more ambitious? I think the world would change. Thank you.
Sorry that I cut you off.
It's okay, babe.
I remember hearing it because, again, it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So when you're older, that goes fast, but it's a decade, right? But it hits hard because girls are so taught to be nice and to be liked and to be modest and to stand back and to be small. And we're not taught to be ambitious unless we have a dad like my dad or other, you're like this with the girls, and teaching about ambition with understanding, again, the obstacles, and that it's not, that sometimes there's a lot to negotiate and navigate when you are a woman who is ambitious. And, these two movies kind of help shift that narrative a little bit to kind of broaden what feminism means, what we can do, that it's not just about making money, it's about expanding, being less fear-based, feeling more collaborative. Like 9 to 5, I love because it's 3 women together, right? And that ambition isn't selfish and it isn't masculine. It's human. Ambition is human. And it doesn't have to look ruthless. It can be community and compassion and connection. In 9 to 5, the women don't just want promotions. They want a better world. They want better workplace environment for their friends. They want equal pay, childcare, flexible hours, dignity. And, so as parents, we can start telling our daughters, I know all of you probably already are, but you can do anything. Don't let people tell you to shrink. Go after what you want. Teach ambition as something that's generous and that's helpful to others. It's not just self-serving. It's not about stepping over people. It's about bringing people with you. I have this great video that I reposted a while ago, and it's these women, they're on a WNBA team. So they're on a basketball team, and they're coming out of this door of the bus, and it's kind of a tight door. So every single one of them turns around and helps the next person off the bus. They just like come off the bus and they lend their hand back, and then the next person comes off, and then the next person lends their hand back. And I wrote, like, that's what women do. You know what I mean? Again, yes, all the time, no. But I think the women I know, that's what we do. And Michelle Obama talked about this a long time ago. Like, what we have to do when we have power or responsibility is we put our hand back and help others come through that door. That's what women do. And men can do that too. You know, this is, again, it's human. So anyway.
All right. We ready?
That's it. Cringe or classic?
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
I think they're both classics. Specifically just calling out sexual harassment and just seeing women power. Like, forget about it.
Yeah. I like the cringe is like, you know, I agree with you. Both movies to me are classics. I love them both. They're in my, I know you always get mad because I say everything's in my top 10, but they're two of my favorite movies of all time. But it's a lot of, you know, it's not very racially diverse. You know, we got to at least call that out. It's a lot of white feminism. So there's no race analysis. Glamorizing overworking, the idea that, you know, changing your hair changes your life, that kind of stuff. But it's good humor. It's sisterhood. It's, you know, speaking truth to power. I love them.
Yeah.
So,
are we ready for best quote?
I got a hot take.
Oh, well, I got a soundbite for a hot take.
Boy, it's hot. This is hot. Never got this hot in Brooklyn. It's like Africa hot. Tarzan couldn't take this kind of hot.
Okay, in the clips that I sent you, I have hot take.
Do you know what number it is?
Well, you gave me the numbers and I took a picture of it. So let me see. That was my way of figuring out. Number 6.
5, 6. I think this is it.
Names. No business cards.
That's it?
No, you must know so-and-so.
Yes, sir.
No resumes. Let's just meet like human beings. For once.
Well, it's nice to meet you, whatever your name is, but I really do have to go.
Please. Please. One drink.
Okay, so that is Harrison Ford playing Jack Traynor, and he sees Tess at the bar and basically comes over and said, when I saw you, I promised myself I would drink tequila with you or something like that. And then she's like, well, I'm looking for a guy named Jack Traynor. And then he says that. He's like, no, let's not do that. That's creepy. That's stalkerish. So that's just my hot take.
Yeah.
I love you, Harrison Ford. I love Jack ends up being an amazing character, but that's a kind of creepy moment. And then she gets really drunk because she took a few like Xanax or Valium or something, plus had all these tequila shots. And then he takes her home and takes her dress off. And
that's a whole thing in TV and movies. They did it in
Fever Pitch.
Fever Pitch, which I love. I love that movie. The idea of taking somebody home
and undressing them. Yeah, it's weird.
It's completely unnecessary because usually, I mean, Drew Barrymore's character in Fever Pitch, she was sick.
Yeah, she had food poisoning.
But if somebody is like inebriated, they don't care if they're wearing pajamas or just their underwear. Take their shoes off. Like, it's such a movie thing.
Well, and let's talk about that for a second. I know we're trying to finish up here, but
yeah, we're at an hour and 30 seconds.
I know, but this is my
I know. That's why I've been quiet.
Okay, so and this is a positive thing. Melanie, and I should have said this with Remember When. I love how comfortable she is with her body, and her body is a very she's amazing. Her body's amazing, but it's a normal woman's body. Like she's wearing I'm taking this off of the whole Jack Traynor thing. This is just her, like when she's cleaning the house in her underwear and, you know, vacuuming and stuff. She's so comfortable with herself. And I remember the first time seeing this and feeling very like, oh, that's more like me. Do you know what I mean? Like
And she's not a size 0.
Exactly. And feeling like not only is it about you feel similar, like you know, you're not that different looking, but her comfort with it.
Yeah.
And so I just want to give Melanie Griffith like that kind of like props because I think she really spoke to a lot of women. Now, I'm not wearing garter belts and everything like she does in this movie, but there was something very empowering about her love of her own body.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
Are we ready for best quote?
Yes.
May the force be with you.
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 All right. Thank you, Master Yoda. I think the best quote, it's kind of I guess the famous one from 9 to 5. Let's start there. I'm going to get that gun of mine and change you from a rooster to a hen.
In one shot.
In one shot.
Dolly Parton.
And I have a few different quotes from Working Girl. You ready to hear it?
Yep.
So this isn't necessarily my favorite, but the most famous, I guess.
Okay.
Doing.
Yeah, so do I. Screwed up your life.
No, I'm trying to make it better. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life working my ass off and getting nowhere just because I followed rules that I had nothing to do with setting up, okay?
Thank you, Tess.
You're the first woman I've seen in one of these damn things that dresses like a woman, not like a woman thinks a man would dress if he was a woman.
Already heard that one.
You want to be taken seriously? You need serious hair. Can I get you anything, Mr. Trainer? Coffee, tea, me? I have a head for business and a bod for sin. Is there anything wrong with that?
Just get that sexy lisp.
Please don't yell at me. You treat me like I'm...
Why are we always talking about the way you get treated, huh? Who the fuck died and made you Grace Kelly?
I am not steak. You can't just order me.
He's the worst. Alec Baldwin in that movie. That character.
Mick. He got the loan for his boat.
Yes.
I go to number 8, and you have to go to 149. It's just part of 9 to 5 that always gets a good laugh.
I think it's right here.
Right here. I'm going to lose my job.
Violet, now just calm down.
No, fool, I killed the boss. You think they're not going to fire me for a thing like that?
Now, hush. Now just sit here. We'll be right back.
Is that good?
Uh-huh. I just always like that because
really
that whole scene, like I basically sent Todd a scene that was like 5 minutes long. And within that is my favorite quote, my favorite scene, my favorite, like, it's just a great scene at the hospital. Like it's just humor after humor after humor. And then when they get pulled over and the body's in the trunk, and then when Dora Lee goes to the trunk and realizes it's not Mr. Hart, it's just great comedy.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's it.
Are we ready for the music game?
Play that song, the one that makes me go all that.
So for the first time, I feel like it's possible we may pick the same song. And because I don't want to be seen as a copycat, I'm going to play my song first.
Great.
And just so everybody knows, music game is you're just trying to catch the vibe of the podcast topic or the movies that we're talking about or whatever. So here's mine. Is this yours? Is this yours too?
I have 3 written down, and I knew you'd go first, so I could choose a different one.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So Respect is one of mine, which is a perfect song for this.
What movie do you think of when you hear this song?
St. Elmo's Fire.
Very good. All right. So what do you got?
I am going to do Desiree Gotta Be.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Gotta be blue, gotta be blue, gotta be don't go.
Stand up and be counted. Don't be ashamed to cry. You gotta be bad. You gotta be bold. You gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard. You gotta be tough. You gotta be.
Yeah, yours is better than mine.
It just gets the whole
Yeah,
thing.
it's more complete.
And my other choice was I'm choosing Gotta Be as my selection.
Yeah,
So
I don't think you can beat that one.
that's done. But I had Express Yourself also.
Oh, comes back to Madonna, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it always?
And my hot take is that what's the Lady Gaga song that I think she stole off of the?
Born This Way.
Yeah, it sounds like that.
God, that was 11 pages.
That's a lot of
notes
sweetie.
and a lot of things that I thought I didn't get through half of it. But you know what? We did pretty well.
Should we do any trivia? It's not that good.
Yes. Go ahead.
Fine. I'll
Let's
give you.
finish it up.
First, we got to do this. I don't want to play the whole thing. All right. A few 9 to 5ers. What substance does Violet accidentally put in Hart's coffee instead of sweetener?
Rat poison.
And what does Violet get promoted to? And I don't know if this is true. What does Violet get promoted to at the end of the film?
I don't think she does. I mean, maybe she does. But it's
according to the trivia thing, it says vice president.
I don't know.
I'm not buying it.
Wait. You know what? She does. Do you remember when they do the
postscript?
The postscript,
Yeah.
the Animal House thing?
So that actually,
Yes,
so there
she
is
did.
a good ending.
Yes, she did. Okay, I take that back.
Working girl, what borough is Tess McGill from?
She's from the Bronx.
No.
Queens.
No.
Brooklyn.
No.
Long Island.
No.
Where's she from?
Staten Island.
Staten Island. You know what? Everybody from that area, I'm sorry, I said Long Island before, and I meant Staten Island.
Yeah, no, we're Chicagoans, so we don't.
So sorry.
We're not intimately familiar with the different boroughs.
We should be though, because that's cultural literacy. You should know the boroughs of New York. And I'm sorry.
Well, we know them. We just don't know which one.
But I said at the beginning of the show, I said she's from Long Island because I was talking about their makeup, but she's not. She's from Staten Island. Okay, keep going.
How does Catherine Parker injure herself?
Skiing accident.
Yeah. And what song won Carly Simon the Triple Crown?
Let the River Run.
And what's the name of Tessa's girlfriend who helps her with the transformation?
Cynthia,
but they call her Sin.
Sin.
CYN. What happens when Tess first meets Jack Trainer at the bar?
They do shots together, and then she gets drunk and passes out.
Very good. Passes out in cab from Valium and alcohol, and he takes her to his apartment. So that's it. Do we have any kind of closing music?
Yeah, I thought, why don't you just play the Working Girl theme? It's number 2. It looks like it's number. No. Have it be number 4. It's kind of like a nice instrumental version of the Working Girl theme. And thanks for listening, everybody. We really enjoy talking about these things. At least I do. Do you enjoy this?
I do.
I
wouldn't be here if I didn't enjoy it.
I mean, honestly, if someone came over, I'd be like, let's just talk about this all day. I would do this without recording.
Is the Working Girl theme the same as Let the River Run?
It is, but it's the instrumental.
Oh.
So it's number 4.
Yeah, I lost that one. Maybe I got it here. 4. There it is.
Yeah. So if this is your first Zen Pop Parenting, go back and look at all the other ones we've done.
That's right.
And enjoy.
You got about 850 or so other podcasts that you can listen to. Keep trying.